Hey folks, it's almost the 4th of July and I thought I'd try to laser cut something and design it and do all the work associated with that. What I'm thinking is like a little door hanger that's going to be a circle. You've already seen what it's going to look like, but the idea here is that we're going to find some images to recreate them or create our own, and we'll make all the layers and set it up for cutting. So first step here is I just searched Google Images for an American flag round. I found this. So I'm just going to download this file here, and then we will kind of see the next steps here. So we'll save that. And then I also wanted to have like a little wavy banner go across this. So we'll go in here, and I like this one. So I'm just going to drag that over onto my board here. It's nothing big deal. We will figure that out and redraw it here in just a little bit. So I'm just going to turn that off for right now. And I'm using Affinity Designer, which I really like this program. It's a really nice program to do lots of things with. All right, so we're going to open up that downloaded American flag. It's going to show up in a new tab, and then we can copy that whole thing, bring it over here, and then paste it in place. And we're going to make sure it's locked together as far as size goes. And we're going to make it 10 by 10. And then we're going to center this up. So it's going to be 1 inch over, 1 inch over. So we have that centered. Now we do have a few problems that we need to address with this. You see how this guy here doesn't fit inside of that. So we need to make sure that these are all kind of separate things and not overlapping each other by any stretch here. So I'm going to zoom in on that and just make sure that these are lined up as close as I can. It's not like the biggest deal in the world, but it's going to bother me if it's not made totally properly. So you can see there is a little gap there. So we'll just pull it back. Nothing big deal there. Okay. Now, that's all well and good. We'll be able to export this and figure out the colors for all this stuff. We do need to add some strokes to all of this stuff to make sure it works, but that's not the big deal here. So we can see the curves we have for that. We have the curve here, here, here. We have the circle in general is an ellipse, which is nice because we can do a lot of stuff with that. And then we're going to just highlight all of this. We're going to, well, maybe we won't do it that way. Maybe we'll go up here and just add a stroke. And we're going to make sure that's a stroke of just 1 point. That's all we need. Just something small that we're going to be able to do some things with. And you can see it outlines those. And the idea here is that when we have these all turned on, it's going to give us a outside line for our Glowforge to actually be able to go through and cut and follow along with this. So that's kind of the only reason we're doing this, to get the stroke set up there so that we can get all of these pieces kind of established and set. Nothing too big of a deal. And what you can do with Glowforge is, or with this software, you can change the color. So right now it's all black. If I were to change the color of any of this stuff, I can actually set it to do different things inside of Glowforge. So I can have it score, engrave, whatever. We're going to turn this image back on. We're going to bring it all the way up to the top layer. And I just want this to go all the way across. And we're going to redraw this in a second. So it's going to get pixelated. It's going to look terrible. And we're not actually using this. It's just going to be a guide for us to help us out in what this might actually look like. And I'm going to just skew it a little bit like that. Something like that, or across the bottom. I don't really know. I think we're going to go a little lower because we're going to use the same blue here across this. So that will be fine. Then I'm going to go into my pen tool, and we're just going to slowly kind of trace out the general idea of this. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's nothing that really matters a super lot with this. It's just roughly tracing all this out. And then we'll go in and we get our closed loop. Then we can go in and edit each of those individual nodes. So this one here, we want it to be curvy. So I'm going to turn on the smooth curve, and I'll do the same thing for this one. Smooth to a curve. This one here, smooth to a curve, and then this one here is also going to get smoothed out. And then we can kind of adjust how those look and what exactly they're doing to get them to be where we'd like them to be. So that one's fine. This guy needs to come over a little bit, and then we'll exaggerate that one a little bit, and we're going to exaggerate that one a little bit. Okay, so that's all well and good. Let's go ahead and give it a fill. I'm just going to choose, I don't know, we can use the eyedropper here. I don't want it to be that. Let's just go with, I don't know. Why am I? There we go. That's fine. All right, and then we can get rid of this. And you can see that this doesn't quite fit inside of all this, so we're just going to drag some of that out. And then I'm going to turn off all of this stuff. I don't care about it. I don't need it. But what I want to do is I want to have this thing get cut out so it fits over that circle. So we will do both those things. So I'm going to highlight both of these. Nope, not all of them. I'm going to highlight like that. And then you can see here I can go through and cut things out, subtract or add on. So if I go to subtract, you see it cuts that entire shape out and leaves over what's there. So this path here is what we want, but that's not how I want that to be. I want there to be a divide, so it makes new shapes here. And then I can get rid of that side and that side. And then I still have my curve here, but I can go back and redraw that circle. It's not too big of a deal. So let's go in and turn all of this back on. Now we have that little flag going across. It's not the best. I'm not thrilled with it, but it will work just fine for what we're doing. I'm going to get rid of those bottom curves, and then I'll redraw my circle here, holding shift to make sure it's round. And then I can just set it to be 10 by 10 like we had before. And I'll make sure that's 1 inch in and 1 inch in. There we go. And then we'll just drop that down to the bottom layer. You can see the color there. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to make it white for right now, just so we can visually see a little bit better where all that's at. So we have kind of the setup here for all the stuff we need. We're going to do this in 3 layers. There's going to be a bottom circle layer that's just going to be the base that we're going to build everything on. Then we're going to cut out all of this as one cut, hopefully, on a second sheet of our 1/8 inch plywood. And then we'll cut this guy as a 3rd one. And we'll see how that works out. And we actually might have a 4th layer with the text over top. So let's go ahead and add text here. And we're just going to say, welcome. And we're just going to need to adjust the colors of this. So let's go over here. And again, it doesn't actually matter what colors we pick right now. Do that. And we need to find some fun fonts. So let's go through and just see what we have. I don't download a whole bunch of stuff. That one looks psychotic. That's not bad. All right. So we have all that. And what I could do is I could put this on the path so it follows all that, but I'm not worried about that right now. What I think I'm going to do is, one, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to have to glue these individually on. But what I'm going to do here is we're going to go to layer and then convert to curves. Because Glowforge, if you don't pay for it, doesn't let you bring fonts in. You have to go through and make it a curve. Now each one of these, it should be an individual shape. So I can go in there and change and move them where I want them to be individually. So I can kind of get these set a little closer to where they should be. And I can modify them or do whatever I want to with all this. If I wanted to have these all connected, I could. I don't know if that will look good or not. No, that looks terrible. So let's undo that. All right, and then we'll try to get these like so. All right, and then that whole group we can just kind of try to recenter a bit. All right, so that's the design part of this. Let's go in now and export all these pieces out and kind of get them set on here. The only other thing I need to do is make sure they have a stroke. And we're just going to make sure it's just 1 point. That will make everything work here. This one has a point of, okay. So we're all good with that. So the first thing we're going to do is turn off all of our layers because we need our just base layer. So we're going to export this as an SVG. We'll export. We're just going to dump it onto the desktop. We're going to call it flag base and save that. Then we should be able to turn all of these on. And they all should have a stroke. Is that correct? Yep, they're all good. All right. I can get rid of the fill if I want to on these. It doesn't really matter. So if I wanted to change the fill, just so I can make sure that it has the right stroke for everything. Like you can see, this part's missing. So I will need to go back and fix that. And that's going to be probably true of all of these. They have, there's large areas missing. So let's go in and just visually make sure that we have all of these things covered. All right, we have all of that. I can turn this back on now. And that all looks good. You can see that we actually do have one little small issue over here. We have multiple cuts happening right there. I'm not super worried about that, but if you're concerned about it, you can obviously fix it, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. So I'm going to go in here and, well, let's be picky here. So zoom in on that. And then we can just go in here and hopefully adjust that a little better. These guys here. So if we take a look, you can really see when you double up on strokes where problems are going to happen. Because what's going to happen is when we go with the laser here, it's going to go through both of them, and I don't want that to happen. So let's go ahead and minus all that out. We'll select all of the things that are visible right now, and we can just add them together. That's not going to be what we want, but we should be able to just group them here so they're one item as far as the general output's concerned. We'll export this one. We have that, so we're going to call that flag middle. We'll save that. Then we can turn that entire thing off. We'll put our curve on, and we can hopefully, what I can do is I can export both these together and cut them out of one single piece of plywood. That's the goal here. So we have that, and let's just double check and make sure that we have everything set. Beautiful. So I can now go and export this. Actually, let's put this right on there. We'll make it inset in. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's going to be a little annoying to put together, but it'll be fine. And then we will be able, hopefully, to use just a scrap piece of plywood that we have laying around and do that. So we'll go export this one and flag top. We'll save that. And then we have to fire up Glowforge and do our next step. Okay, so now we're in Glowforge. All I'm going to do is go to create design, upload SVG. We're going to start off with the flag base, which honestly is just a circle. It's going to go through and process. And hey, look, there is one that kind of looks like what we wanted to do. All right, so it's going to pop in here and we just get the layout where we want this to be. This is going to be kind of the setup here. So our first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put in our light plywood base, and then we're going to cut that out. It should go through no problem. Right now, I don't have any stuff in there, so we need to get that solved. And then you'll see that this will update, and you'll see that I have this thing here. It says back and left. Basically, this is a spacer that allows me to make sure that I get the most out of all of my material. I'll explain that in just a second here. All right, so here's the Glowforge, and this is what I was talking about, this thing right here. Basically, what it does is it allows me to slide this all the way in the back corner here, and it hits the side rail, it hits this, but totally clears that, and then I can put my stuff right up in the corner and have to use all of this cut area. I designed this and printed it out with my printer, and you can see there's a little cutout there so that the corners can actually go in, because 3D printers can't really make good 90-degree corners. So I'll get that in there, and then I'll slide my plywood in. Then we will slice it and print, and it's going to go all the way up through here and then vent outside all the way over there. So here we go. All I have to do is slide that in, get it set, and you can see that now it's in there. It's square. I don't block the fans at all, and everything is in there, and I get my entire cut surface just by using that little piece. It's awesome. So we're going to close this up now. We're going to go back to the computer. We're going to hit print and see how long it'll take to cut that circle out, and then we'll do the same process for the next piece. The circle went in fine, it cut out no problem. It was a 6-minute cut, so nothing too big a deal here. The next one is our middle one. It's going to be a much longer cut. It's going to take a lot longer to process and go through and do all its stuff. As I said earlier, you can see that we have one that's very similar to what my design is here. Just what it is. I actually like this one a little better, but Them's the brakes. I'm going to go with this one and we'll see what's up. All right, so we have it there. We're going to get it centered. We're going to do the same material. It's going to cut out all of those and then we'll hit print. It will process and go through. The machine's going to use its laser camera to kind of figure out where it's supposed to be at, what exactly is going on with it. And then from there, we can go in and see how long this bad boy is actually going to take. Because it's going to do 2 passes on all of these things. So it's going to take a little while to do. And you can see it's focusing right now onto what it's doing. And we're getting all of that ready. So hopefully we'll learn here how long it takes to go. We can hit the glowing button and then we'll be in good shape. I'm guessing it's going to be probably about a 45-ish minute print, but that's just my guess. And I don't know why I say print. It's a cut, but it's the same idea here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what happens. Oh, awesome. This is only a 29-minute print. So awesome there. We cannot print it from here. You have to actually go over to the machine and get it. So we'll do that. And it says it's not proof grade. It just doesn't have the barcode, but it's the exact same stuff. So we'll go over, hit the button, and we'll cut this part out. So here are all the parts actually cut out. I like to arrange them first just to make sure everything fits together. I'm going to be using these acrylics that I got at Michael's on sale and some foam brushes. Really cheap, easy stuff to do. Usually you have to put a coat or 2 on there and it's not a big deal. So I paint all the same colors. I did the corner of the area there just for the stars because I messed up one of the stars and it broke and my hands got absolutely filthy doing this, but it's okay. And here's the final result. I'm pretty happy with it. I just used super glue to assemble everything. I need to do a little touch-up paint, but I kind of like the slightly weathered look. Super easy, quick project that I think looks pretty good. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.